A lot of people today subscribe to the belief in oneness, the idea that fundamentally we're all one, connected, unified, that our separation, the apparent individuality, and the borders, the boundaries that we see and perceive within the world is fundamentally not true. And that what is true fundamentally is this idea of oneness, ultimate union, ultimate unification, ultimate connection. And a lot of people think that this oneness is their goal. That's their idea of enlightenment. When they achieve this oneness, they will be free, enlightened, and they will realize and experience their true self. And this idea is consistent with the belief of transcending the ego self. So the ego self is like the individual identity which is separate from everybody and that believes it to be a certain way. And the reason that this is consistent is that they believe, the people who subscribe to this belief of oneness, they think that when they transcend this individual self, they will become this unified self, which is the ultimate self, the ultimate true self, which is connected and unified and much bigger and vaster and limitless. It is this one unit. The problem with this theory is that it is based on the idea of self-identification. We say, I am not this body, I am much bigger than this body. This is really what this idea is about. It's transcending of the physical body. So while that may be true, I'm not going to discuss this idea of whether or not and to what extent our physical body is representative to our identity or not. The point here is that identity is a mistaken belief all the time. Because it's what identity is, it is a claim that something is a certain way. It is like a snapshot. I am a certain way. And the problem is with that is that it is never true. The world doesn't actually work in a snapshot. The world is an ephemeral nature. It is always new. It is not constant. The physical body is not constant. It is always new. It is always changing. The contents of the mind are transitory. The objects that we perceive with our senses, with our mind, as long as there are objects, there's change. It's inconstant. And so if we take our experience, subjective experience, as individual beings to be inconstant, and all of the things of the world to be of this fundamental characteristic of inconstancy, then how can inconstant things make up a fundamentally constant thing? They don't. Oneness, as long as is taken to be this union of these inconstancies, this is an inconstant oneness, is what we have. It's just a bigger ego. It's just a bigger identity. If we were to take a snapshot of this bigger identity, sure, it would be fine. But the reality is never like that. It's not static. Oneness, if it was static, then there would be no life, there would be no world, there would be no manifestation. Manifestation is only true when there is movement, there is motion, there is change, there is transformation. It's ephemeral in its nature. And identity, no matter what it is, if it's big, if it's small, like identifying with the physical body, or if it's identifying with the whole entire universe, which is always changing, always new, always ephemeral, transitory, in a state of flux, motion. To identify with a certain transitory snapshot of that universe is not true. It's because as soon as you stake a claim to being that, it is no longer true. It is already something else. And that is the fundamental fault of identity. And that is the fundamental flaw and the fundamental misdirection when people believe that they have to reach the state of oneness. They will become enlightened. They will achieve the ultimate truth, the ultimate union. They'll achieve God. It is false because the ultimate, as long as it's inconstant, is a problem. Because if we base our enlightenment on something inconstant, then our enlightenment will be inconstant. If we really want to be free from change, from inconstancy, then we need something that's constant. We need to transcend inconstancy. We need to transcend this world of manifestation, this world where everything is changing. We need to transcend this world where things are always new. We need to transcend this world where identity is always false. In a way, we have to give up identity because identity is false. So, oneness, it has its uses in philosophy. We can talk about interdependency, we can talk about connection, we can talk about how things influence each other. And as long as oneness represents a world which is interdependent, like a big machine where there's a cause and effect that's going on, then we can talk about oneness as being true. But we cannot identify with it as a constant state because it is not static. It's not representative of the eternal truth. Eternal truth is true all the time. And if we want spiritual fulfillment and to reach a final liberation, transcendence, then we need a constant, an eternal constant. And it cannot be oneness. So there's a lot to discuss here. There's a lot of elements and aspects to this that we could look into further. Let me know if you enjoy this kind of content, what you think, if you've had an experience of oneness, of being greater than the physical body. Let me know what you think. Let me know if there are other ways of analysis, other ways of interpreting this idea. And maybe in a future video, we'll look at some of these other interpretations of the belief, the perspective, the theory of oneness. All right. Hope you enjoyed this video. I'll see you next time.